Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this evening, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, as usual, I guess not usual because sometimes we have a special guest like we did last week, but back to normal, my brother Alex. Alex, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great. Doing great. I'm doing great. Just chilling, relaxing.
Oh, yeah. It's the life of an old man.
Yeah, well, go to sleep around. Well, it's actually past my bedtime. It's like 8:32 or something. Making it.
Yeah, we're running a little late this week because we've had technical difficulties and schedules and whatnot, but we did give everyone a little bonus podcast last week when I had Victor Rodriguez from Bloody Elbow on talking MMA. You and I don't talk a lot of MMA, but I watch a lot of MMA. So we have Victor on and we talked about a lot of UFC. So you might want to go check that out. And the other thing we got done, in spite of all these technical difficulties, and Alex, I haven't even told you about this, but you can now catch us on YouTube, Podbean, Google Play, iTunes, and Spotify.
Oh, sweet. Moving on up.
That's right. We're moving on. Now, we didn't get that fat deal that Joe Rogan got for like $100 million. In fact, we didn't get anything. But we're on Spotify just like Joe Rogan.
That's right. That's all that matters. Hey, look, we're on the same platform. I was going to say level.
Yeah.
But not really.
I mean, we're basically
we're in the same.
We're basically the same as the Joe Rogan podcast, basically.
We're on the same level, just not tax bracket.
Right. But I mean, who knows how these tax brackets work anyway, right? The thing is, you can catch us on Spotify now. If that's your podcast platform of choice, when you go listen to Joe Rogan, once you're done listening to Joe Rogan, you can listen to the Positive Sports Podcast with Alex and I. How about that?
That's right. Make sure you listen. Go check out the interview I did with Victor. It was pretty good. A lot of UFC, entertaining even for the casual fan. Like into UFC, it's still a good listen, and you might learn a few things here and there. So check it out.
Hey Alex, I don't mean to be rude, but I did the interview with Victor Rodriguez, not you.
Wait, what did I say?
You said check out my interview with Victor Rodriguez.
Oh, did I? Oh, well, it's my podcast. I wasn't there, but I was there.
Hey, are we going to watch the fights this weekend?
I don't know. Who's fighting? McGregor? I may be there for that.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'll text you because I'm gonna set it up with some guys. I don't know where we're going yet, but you're going. I know it'll be a little bit past your bedtime, but you'll be okay. You can sleep in on Sunday.
I don't even know anymore, but oh well.
All right, man. Well, let's get to it. Yeah, let's talk about the NFL playoffs. We're headed to the conference championship games. I can't wait. I think really these are two games that we really want to see. You know, we got the top two teams in the AFC. We got a great storyline in the NFC. Let's recap last week. You had the Packers taking on the Rams at home. They went ahead and won that game. I would say rather easily. The Rams were kind of limited. I mean, Aaron Donald was hurt, so he wasn't his usual self. You know, Goff is still working off that thumb injury. I mean, the game really didn't tell me much because the Rams were kind of not, really not, I won't say not worthy to be there, but they just weren't at full capacity to really give it a go against a Packers team that's pretty darn good. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think even if the Rams were at full, Packers would have anyway, not as easy as it seemed. Was stood out like the change of pace. The Packers controlled the football. I mean, they really like went to work on every drive the first half, and that was I'm not used to Aaron Rodgers because he kind of works a little faster more often than not. So their run game was on point. Their defensive run game was Aaron Rodgers was um I mean, they fucking look good. They look good.
Yeah, I agree. Um, it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend because they're going to get I think, a more formidable test. This weekend they're going to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who, Tampa Bay had to go down to New Orleans and play the Saints. Really a battle of legends. Tom Brady on one side, Drew Brees on the other. To be honest, for me, I didn't want to see either one of those guys lose. I think they're both, obviously Hall of Fame careers and just great people in general. It was great to watch them go at it. But in the end, really, the Buccaneers defense did the job on the Saints and pretty much dominated that game, making it so that the Buccaneers would come out ahead and beat the Saints in New Orleans after losing twice and one time really bad during the season. Were you surprised that the Buccaneers were able to turn the tables on the Saints like that?
Nah, I was more surprised at Drew Brees coughing up that game. Really, I mean, he fucking threw a bunch of picks. I mean, he the Bucs for better field position in that game, and Drew Brees gave it to them 3 times. So, and then the Bucs did what they had to do, and that's score off turnovers. But I mean, the Saints gave him the ball pretty much in good field position every time. I was more shocked. I was shocked at how uncomfortable Drew Brees looked. Part of it because I think the Bucs made him a little uncomfortable, and I don't think he was 100% healthy either. So.
You got to wonder. Remember earlier in the season, he came back from that rib injury, and he came back. I thought he came back a week early because they really wanted to, win that game against the Kansas City Chiefs at home, and I feel like they pushed him a little bit early, and really I kind of agree with you. Like it seemed like he was not 100%. He just didn't. He just didn't. He just didn't have it. And give the Bucs defense credit. They put a lot of pressure on him. They got to him quite a bit. And you're right. The Bucs offense at the end of the day did what they were supposed to do. Right? They got a short field and they converted quite a bit and ended up winning the game. I won't say easily because there was still a little bit of it was a tie game in the third quarter or at the end of the third quarter, so it was still tough. But the Buccaneers did what they had to do.
I think Brees' wife came out today and she posted something about him having more than just about Brees having more of just rib issues, like torn rotator cuff. And my other issue is, and somebody could have maybe just made this, if it got leaked, why announce that you're retiring before that game? I didn't like that. Like, why even let that get out if Drew Brees and his people let it get out?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird.
Now.
I thought that was kind of weird too. He's Drew Brees is a consummate professional, and I felt like that having that kind of conversation or letting that kind of story leak out before the game, I thought was just kind of weird. Not in character with Drew Brees the way we've seen him over the past however many years he's been in the league, right? Do you think he actually retires? I mean, you think he's really done?
Yeah, he could be. He could be. I wouldn't be shocked if he does retire. He's not, he's never been the most mobile quarterback. On top of he's already got a challenge of being a short quarterback. You're only going to get older. You're only getting older. You're going to be slower, move around as quick. Now you got fucking ribs missing.
Yeah.
I don't know that he has anything else to prove. He's got a lot of the records. He's got a Super Bowl. He's done a lot of great things in the NFL, outside the NFL. I don't know that he has a lot more to prove. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For these guys, I don't think.
I don't know.
For these guys, I don't think it's a matter of having anything to prove. I think it's a pure love of the game. For a guy like Drew Brees, it seems to me like it's a pure love of the game. It's a pure love of teammates, right? Being around the guys and just wanting to compete, right? I think those are the three things that really keep those guys coming back. Same thing with Brady, right? And Brady and Phillip Rivers retired today, so I mean you could throw him in that category as well. It's the desire to compete, the desire to win, and the fun that they have with their teammates, right? I think that's what keeps them coming back for more.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think with football, especially being a quarterback, you're up in the 35, 36 years old. I mean, after a while, that's not fun anymore. Getting hit and then with injuries that Breeze had, an injury or two last year, now this year. And if what his wife put out is true, he's got more than just ribs injury, then I don't know. That doesn't become fun after a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
I tell you what,
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
If that rotator cuff thing is true, that would explain some of those throws, because he threw some balls that they didn't have any zip on them, and the window is so small that if you don't zip it in there sometimes, it's easy for it to get tipped or whatever. And he had a couple of interceptions like that and a couple of bad throws and throws where he threw behind guys, and so that may very well be what happened. Hey, did you see the video after the game of way after the game, hours after the game, of Brady and Drew Brees and Drew Brees' kids on the field, and Tom Brady tossing a ball to one of his kids and whatnot? Did you see that?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that was pretty good.
I love my dad to death, but that was one moment where I wish my dad was Drew Brees. How cool is that when you're 10 years old to be, just kind of hanging out on the Superdome and getting some balls thrown to you by Tom Brady?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Neat moment to forget ever.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the conference championship game here in a bit, but let's go on to the AFC. The game that I was most looking forward to was the Bills and the Ravens, and it really ended up being a bit of a dud. The Ravens just couldn't do anything against that Bills defense, which was kind of surprising to me. The Bills did. Watching that game gave me a lot of hope for the Bills next week against the Chiefs, because they handled the mobility issue with Lamar Jackson, I thought, fantastic. He was contained the entire game. He just never got going. And, I think they did a great job of it. What'd you think?
Yeah, what we talked a lot about are missing. I think they threw the ball the first 13 plays of their first drive. their first 13 plays, they were all pass plays.
Yeah.
And I think that the Ravens were playing, but the Bills passing game is, I think, that good that they were able to, kind of move the ball. They weren't scoring a lot of points in the first half, but they moved the ball pretty well on that Ravens defense. I mean, they won without a pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's a good team. I like the Bills. That's a tough team right there.
It is. And that Ravens defense is nothing to sneeze at. And I mean, every week we come back here and we do this podcast, and you have to talk about Stephon Diggs. I mean, he catches everything in sight. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs have this instant chemistry, right? It's obviously been a full season now, so I guess you don't have to think of it as instant, but I mean, they look like they've been playing. They look like Montana and Rice. I mean, they look like they've been playing together forever. Stephon Diggs is a real problem for, anyone that they face going forward. And Josh Allen has to be thinking, that's the best Christmas present I've ever gotten in my entire life, even if it was over the summer.
Josh Allen's got the strength in the league without a doubt. I think his arm is like he overthrows the pass 40 yards and it intended to be 40, 50 yards and it sails for like 5 yards. I mean, he's got the strongest arm in the league without a doubt.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone who's got a stronger arm off the top of my head. I mean, he's slinging footballs around. And the other thing is, that's one big dude. I mean, the few plays that where he runs the ball, I mean, he's almost like a running back. He's a truck.
He might have to be this weekend too.
Yeah, didn't one of their running backs get hurt? Because they've got those two running backs that they use. I think one of them got hurt, but maybe back. I don't know. But am I right? One of them got hurt?
I don't know.
So.
I don't know. It looked like they didn't play with any running backs on last weekend.
Yeah, not at all. I agree with you. Moving on, they will have to travel to Kansas City to face the Kansas City Chiefs, who, they beat the Browns. Hats off to the Browns, man. They look like a team that's going to be on the rise going forward. They have some holes defensively that they need to address in the offseason. But offensively, they look like they can really be a handful. And, they only scored 17 points against the Chiefs, but they stayed in the game. And when it looked like the game was going to get away from them, they managed to, really stay in the game and made some key stops to not let the Chiefs get too far away from them. It was 19-3 at the half. And then really in the second half, they pushed it. It looked like they were in big trouble, and they somehow managed to get closer and closer. And, I didn't think they were ever going to win the game. But then when Mahomes went out, man, it got a little dicey. How nervous would you have been if you were a Chiefs fan?
Super nervous. I mean, your fucking quarterback goes out. I mean, I thought the Browns had a reason to win that game. Even when they were losing 19-3, I really thought they could pull this one off. I really thought.
Yeah, especially because the Chiefs were moving the ball well, but they weren't scoring touchdowns. They were being held to field goals. They kicked, like 4 field goals? 4 or 5? 5 field goals. Right? So they really got held. Well, no. 3 field goals, right? Because they missed that extra point on the first touchdown. So,
right.
The Cleveland defense, while they still have work to do, they did show a lot of guts because they buckled down and really kind of held on to, keeping the Chiefs out of the end zone aside from that first touchdown. Look, hats off to Chad Henne. that was a really difficult spot to come in. And I realize he's not a rookie quarterback, right, by any stretch. He's been in the league for quite a few years, but that's not easy. And to come into that situation and do what he did, and then the drive to seal the game at the very end, where he, what was it, 3rd and 14, he goes on a run, gets 13 and 3/4 of it, and then the 4th down to seal the game. Hats off to him, man. Talk about next man up. That was a clutch situation for that team. If the Browns get that ball back, we're having a different conversation today, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Props to him. It's tough for any quarterback to just come in. You're probably not expecting to, right? Or if it's kind of a little the quarterback gets knocked out a little, maybe you expect him to come back in, but he did what he had to do.
Yeah. That hit on Mahomes didn't look that bad, but I guess it's pretty easy to get a concussion sometimes.
And I don't know.
Did you think it was dirty?
Though. I don't care what anybody says. Huh? It's dirty? Dirty hit? You thought it?
Did you think it was dirty?
No.
I thought it was a little dirty. It looked like he pulled on his head a little bit. It wasn't necessary.
Did they flag him?
No.
Okay.
No flag. No flag, and the league even, I think the league even came out and said, no big deal. No, they reviewed it in New York and no big deal. So that's the end of that. So now we have our conference championship games. Let's go back to the NFC. The Buccaneers will head up to Green Bay. They played earlier this year, and it was in Green Bay, and the Buccaneers won. I think it was like 38-10. But I'm not going to hang my hat on that, because if you recall, Aaron Rodgers had a very un-Aaron Rodgers-like game, and he threw a pick six. He just wasn't on that day. What do you think happens on Sunday in Green Bay?
Man, it will probably get a close. It'll be closer than the AFC, I think. I don't know. I'm just hoping Big Dick Rodgers wins. That's it.
Really? Why
are
you rooting for Rodgers?
Because he's the MVP of the league. That's why. He's the best quarterback right now. He's the best quarterback.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think he deserves that second ring. I think he deserves he deserves to be in the 2 Super Bowl conversation.
Right. No, yeah. I think if you ask most people, especially casual fans, most people would think that Aaron Rodgers has two Super Bowl rings, but he doesn't. He's only got that one. Speaking of which, who do you think has more pressure on Sunday, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady?
There's no pressure. These guys are professionals. They've been in the league for so long. There's no pressure. No, I don't think they have any pressure. Because they're so cool under pressure. They've proven so cool under 2 minutes, right? In the Super Bowl, in playoff games. I don't think there's pressure.
See, I think there's more pressure on Aaron Rodgers, because for Aaron Rodgers, this is probably his best chance to get back to a second Super Bowl, right? He gets to play at home. Most of the time, it seems like he always has to go on the road and he ends up losing. But now he gets to play at home, and obviously they had the bye week, so they're not as beat up. The Bucs have had to go through 2 tough games to get there, and I feel like Tom Brady's kind of playing with house money. I think the fact that the Patriots did so bad Tom Brady probably almost feels like he gets a pass, right? Like he's already done better than the Patriots. So there's no pressure on him. You know, the conference championship or Super Bowl, he still had a much better year than the Patriots. And remember, in the beginning of the season, there was all that talk about what was the key to the Patriots' success. Was it Bill Belichick as a coach, or was it Tom Brady as the quarterback? And now I think he doesn't feel that pressure. So for him, I feel like it's pretty easy for him. But for Rodgers, this is probably one of his best chances to get back to the Super Bowl, but he's got to go up against a team that is a very formidable opponent. So I feel like Aaron Rodgers has more of the pressure.
I don't know. Not all that. I mean, you can even Brady has more pressure because he's older. He's probably closer to retiring than Aaron Rodgers is.
Yeah.
And actually, he might have the pressure because he's a perfectionist. You know what I mean? It's Tom Brady. And now that you make me think about it, he may have most of the pressure. He would go Belichick. So he probably feels like he has to pick the best game to reach the Super Bowl without Bill Belichick.
It's funny how,
but no, I mean, I think at this point, these two guys are quarterbacks, and I think they're just up for the challenge. And I don't think there's any, if anything, there's pressure on the opposing to try to contain both of these quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be a defensive coordinator's nightmare to deal with these two offenses. They have so many weapons all over the field, right? The Bucs have Mike Evans, and Fournette is running the ball great. The offensive line is good, and they've got Gronkowski. And then on the other side, the Packers have a great running game as well with Jones and Adams. I mean, it's not going to be fun to be a defensive coach this weekend in Green Bay. Let's move on to the AFC. You have the Buffalo Bills headed up to Kansas City, or headed down to Kansas City, I guess, to play the Chiefs in the AFC Conference Championship game. Now, from what I'm hearing so far, Patrick Mahomes is clearing steps. He's going to practice. He's not out of the concussion protocol yet, but he looks like he's going to be on his way out of concussion protocol, which means he will play on Sunday. What are you looking forward to most in this game on Sunday?
I'm not looking forward to it. I think this is going to be a blowout.
Really?
Absolutely blowout. Yeah. I think the Bills are going to go up to Kansas City, down to Kansas City, to the left of Kansas, wherever Kansas City is. If it's in Kansas, where it is. So look, and the Mahomes thing, I think that's a non-story. He's fucking playing. I don't care. They can list him full practice, not practice. He's playing. The Bills are gonna win. I think the Bills are gonna win out.
Really?
Yes.
You're hopping on that. You're hopping on that Bills Mafia train, and you're right in the front, right? Like you're blowing the horn in the caboose. Woo woo! You're all in on the Bills.
I mean, I've been pretty invested in them since quite some time. Then now, I mean, I think they absolutely knocked down this door.
Now, I notice you use the word invested. Most of the time, when people use the word invested, it has financial implications. Are you telling me that you may have, wagered something on a future, event somehow? Maybe at the beginning, maybe before the season started, you maybe dropped a few shekels on something for the Bills?
I will not discuss that here. No, I wish I dibbled and dabbled on the Bills, but no, I did not.
You want me to tell you? You want me to tell you a secret?
I promise. What's that?
I actually did put a small wager on the Bills to win the Super Bowl and on the Bills to win the AFC.
Okay. Wow. Well, fuck. Let's go Bills.
Yeah, except I think they're going to lose. I think
really? I don't know.
I think that small bet may be.
Are you hedging right now?
that small bet may be the exact reason that Patrick Mahomes makes a miracle comeback from concussion protocol and just wipes the Bills away.
Oh man. Did that small bet move the number a little bit or what?
No, come on. That's when Vegas talks about how much when Vegas talks about how much money was wagered on the Bills to win the AFC or to win the Super Bowl, they don't even mention like the section where my wager falls in. You know, the single digit, that single digit all the way out there, all the way to the right. They don't mention that one.
No. The wagers provided through Coinstar doesn't make it, huh?
Yeah, you know how many bottles and cans I had to return to make that wager?
Did you show up with your empty gallon of milk?
I've been collecting nickels and dimes and pennies for, a year or so in order to make that bet. And we don't use much change nowadays. There's a coin shortage, and
so who you got?
Look, for obvious reasons, I would like to see the Bills win because I would like to say I called it, right?
Right.
Now that I think about it, the fact that I told you when I hadn't told anyone up until now, I probably just killed the Bills' chances of winning. But I'm serious. I think, every time I watch the Chiefs, especially on offense, it's just too many goddamn weapons. It's almost unfair. And I just don't think that the Bills can I don't think the Bills can slow them down. And if they can't slow them down, I don't think they can score at the same pace that the Chiefs do. I think the best chance for the Chiefs to get knocked off was last week. They just kind of didn't quite have it in the red zone, and then Mahomes goes out, and the Browns are making a comeback. I feel like that was the close call, and I feel like this week they're going to fire on all cylinders, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs actually blow the Bills out.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I hope you're right.
I think where the Bills may have issues, I think where the Bills may have issues would be like, running the ball, obviously. I think that's got to be effective, but I think they can definitely keep up. I mean, they've scored a lot of points throughout the season. I think they can definitely keep up offensively and defensively. That's a better defense than the Browns have. So I don't know. And Mahomes may be playing a little scared.
Oh, I don't think that.
Come Sunday.
Now, if it was a different kind of injury, maybe. But a knock on the head, I don't think that one's going to make him scared. I think you're right. Sometimes you see guys play a little scared when they're coming back from a knee issue, or a rib issue, but not the concussion, especially if he clears protocol and doesn't have any lingering effects from the shot last week. So it's funny. This is also a rematch, remember, but this rematch happened. The first game between these two teams happened in Buffalo. And if you recall, the Chiefs won that game, but the Bills were coming on at the end of the game, kind of like the Browns did last week against the Chiefs. So, who knows? I wonder what they're going to take away from that first meeting.
Was this a Tuesday game?
Yeah. Yeah. It was that
Okay.
midweek game, right? Because their schedules got messed up because of COVID.
Right.
So
Right.
should be a good weekend though. I always enjoy conference championship Sunday. It's only 2 games, but there's so much on the line, and you know, obviously by this point there's nothing but good teams. So hopefully we get two really good games to watch.
So I'm gonna end this debate and say Aaron Rodgers was better, probably will be better than Lamar Jackson.
For this year,
This year, next, all time.
well, I mean, yeah, look, Lamar Jackson had to deal with COVID issues during the season. Otherwise, it might be a different story. I was wrong. I'm going to say it. And I've said this before. Aaron Rodgers, I apologize. I was dead wrong. You are still an elite level quarterback. Holy shit, what a season he's had.
But Lamar paid.
Huh?
He's gonna get fucking paid. I said Lamar Jackson's gonna get paid.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And if I was the Ravens, I would be a little hesitant. I would be scared of giving him this super ridiculous contract, because I don't know that style. I don't know that his quarterback play can take him to that next level.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I agree with you because, look, at the end of the day, as much as he runs the football, he's still a quarterback. And
Right.
one good hit, and you could have a real problem on your hands. You could have a lot of dead money in a contract with one guy. So I completely agree with you. He's going to get a big contract. He deserves a big contract because he's done a lot, and he is an incredible talent. But man, if I was the Ravens, I really wish I didn't have to.
It's funny when we mention all, and if you really analyze the AFC North, it could be completely next season. Like, the Browns are clearly better. You figure they're going to get better.
Right.
The Bengals, I think they have some upside.
Oh, absolutely.
The Steelers, we don't know about Big Ben. We don't even know who the hell their quarterback is going to be. Right? That team is kind of, you don't know where it's going. Some players are going to retire. And the Ravens, they got a step further this season in the playoffs. Do they have the team? Of course they can make some draft picks and some free agent signings. Right. But can they get now to a AFC championship game? Like, do they have this division can be completely upside down next season?
Well, it's funny because this division has very much been dominated by the Steelers and the Ravens for a long time. And not only have they been dominant in the division, they've been players in the entire conference, right? And those two could potentially go away, and not go away, but could have a significant decline. And you're right. Yeah. The Browns and the Bengals are probably a couple years away, but the Browns look like they can make a serious run next year, provided things go well in the offseason for the Browns and they stay healthy. I mean, they could be a significant player in the AFC next year, right? And the Bengals probably a couple years behind if they make good moves. So yeah, you're not wrong. It's interesting because we haven't seen that in a decade, 2 decades. I mean, it's been a long time since the Browns and the Bengals have been tops in that division. I mean, you'd have to go back to the 80s, right? Back to the 80s when the Bengals made a Super Bowl and the Browns played the Broncos in that AFC championship. I mean, you'd have to go to the 80s. That's almost 30 years ago. And that is 30 years ago. I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah.
35.
It's probably close.
closer to 40. I mean, that's a long
Yeah, that's
fucking
crazy.
time. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Anyway, we'll see on
that
Sunday.
was good.
Yeah. Um, hey, I'm dying to hear, and you and I talk a lot, but we actually have not had much of a chance to talk about the NBA and to talk specifically about the trade that the Nets made. I am super curious, and I'm sure all of our listeners that know what a big Nets fan you are super curious to hear your thoughts on the Blockbuster deal last week that happened involving the Nets getting James Harden, giving up some picks and Levert, and obviously Indiana was involved with Oladipo. And I mean, just give me what you think about the trade, especially from a Nets perspective.
I mean, I like it. I don't like it. I don't like it because I don't like Harden. But I think we gave up Jared Allen, we gave up Torian Prince, and a bunch of first round swaps.
Right.
So obviously it's a win now. It's a win now move. Plain and
Oh,
simple.
absolutely.
It's a win now move.
Yeah.
So I think they gave up a little of depth from the bench. I
Mhm.
think they gave up some inside play presence as far as rebounding and defense goes. We don't really have small, and without Jared Allen, we look even smaller.
Yeah.
But when you watch tonight, I was watching obviously all three play, and still need some time to play together. But without Kyrie, watching Durant and Harden, uh, I mean that's fucking 60 points, 70 points. I mean that's a lot of buckets, man. And
Yeah.
they were kind of freestyling it, I guess, from what Steve Nash was saying. And Kyrie comes back after taking some PTO and needing the pause and whatever he had to do, it worked because he came back and he dropped about 30 points tonight and he was going off. So, and in the playoffs, it won't matter because you don't use your whole bench. So
Right.
right, you go to like an 8 or 9 man rotation. This team needs time. But it's championship or bust, man. Plain and simple. There's if they don't win, it's a complete failure. It's a failure because you made this trade and your future to win now, and that's fine. I'm fine with the
Yeah.
win now.
Two things struck me about the trade. Um, I completely agree with you. It's a win now situation. Um, Unfortunately, I feel like it's an only win now situation. Like I don't think that those three together are sustainable for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons, right? Um, because of Harden and the way he is, and Kyrie and the way he is, I feel like this thing could really implode if it doesn't work this year. I don't think it's going to work next year, except for one thing. It's really going to test Steve Nash. And Steve Nash is the kind of guy that might very well be able to keep them as a cohesive unit, really firing on all cylinders, because he's a guy who, he's a point guard, right? And so to me, point guards are the smartest guys on the court. And so I feel like he is a very, very smart guy. Even though he doesn't have the coaching experience, he's a very smart guy. And I think in that regard, he should be able to manage those egos and manage those players. And I think a lot will depend on him ultimately. Uh, and look, when you think about the deal, if the Nets were in the West, I would say, oh, you made this big deal to win now, but the West is so hard. But in the East, it's great because who are the real challengers in the East? The Bucks. The Bucks have already shown that they can fold in the playoffs. The Heat aren't as talented as this Nets team. So the Sixers, they have issues. The Celtics, they're not world beaters, I don't feel like. So really, by bringing Harden in for this year, all you have to do is get those guys to work together during the season. And then come playoff time, you should be able to run all the way to the finals. And then, of course, anything can happen in the finals. The lack of height did strike me. But where is that really going to be a problem in the East? A little bit with the Sixers, but not enough to really swing the balance to, make a series with the Sixers and make them the favorite. Where it's going to get difficult is when they have to play in the finals against someone like the Lakers or the Clippers even, So I feel like it's a win now thing, and it's got to happen this year. You can't. It's not like the big three when they went to Miami, right, where they didn't win it the first year, but then they came back and you could see that they were a little bit better, and you felt like they were going to win. With this Nets team, I feel like it's got to happen now because with Harden and Irving together, it makes me nervous.
Yeah, and I think it can happen because I don't see any, even in the West, I don't see a team matching up to these. You can't double team any one of them. Like on the Lakers, you can double team Anthony Davis. They got LeBron. You can double team LeBron, Anthony Davis. Denver, you can double team Jokic,
Yeah.
You got three guys here. You got three of the top 10 players on the same team.
Top 15. Right? We'll be conservative.
Yeah, that's fine. Still on one team though.
Yeah. Well, you could double team them. You could double team them if you played 6-on-5. Right, because
that's not allowed. So,
but then you'd have two guys running around by themselves, which probably not good for defensive stats.
But hey, man, I'm if they make it to the finals, I'm happy. If they win it, that's great. And if all they win is one final, then you know what? If the Nets win a final this season and it's the only final they win in the next 5, I'll be happy.
Yeah,
I'll be happy.
Yeah, winning an NBA championship is winning an NBA championship, right?
Well, especially how the Nets did it, right? Because seven years ago they traded the farm for 2 guys, and we didn't own. Sean Marks didn't own a pick for like the next 5 years. So this turnaround, seriously, for a franchise, and if you've been a fan of the team, it's like it's amazing what he's done, really. So I'll take it. Yeah, I will take it.
I agree with you. All right, man. You got anything else?
I'm ready to wrap this puppy up.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to talk about. How about you?
No, I'm done. Can't think of anything.
Hey, if people want to chop it up with you about the Nets, how do they get a hold of you, buddy?
On Twitter at Bro1.
Excellent. And if you want to get a hold of me and talk UFC or football or baseball or whatever you want to talk about, I don't care. You can reach me on Twitter as well at eMontana21. As always, folks, have a great week. Thank you very much for listening, watching, subscribing, commenting, complaining, whatever it is that you guys do. We appreciate it all. As always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.